Hi, hey, it's Linda Anderson here from Linda Lou Creates. And for today's video, I am going to get crazy about circles. Um, these are the layering circle dies. Let me show you what I did. I layered them or stacked them, however I want to say it, all together. I put some washi tape on it then to hold it down, and then I ran it through my die cut machine. I went with a variety of colors of cardstocks. So I did initially want to start with something in the rainbow family, and it just kind of went from there. I have a bag full of circles now that are going to be fun to put together, almost like a puzzle. So let's get started with this one, with the rainbow one. Now, I have no doubt there's many ways in which to put the circles together. I'm just going to show you the way I did it. So, all right, let me set that off to the side. First up, I have the largest circle out of the circle dies, layering circles dies, and I did that just out of some white cardstock. So for my colors, I went with Poppy Parade, pumpkin pie. So see how I'm just kind of fitting them in together here. Daffodil Delight. All right. I have Granny Apple Green. I think I kind of went with majority of the colors that were in the Brights collection. I thought that I really liked those the most. So, and here is Pacific Point, Highland Heather, and then Gorgeous Grape. So I have my Roy G. Biv colors here, my colors of the rainbow. And they all fit in so nicely. Now from here, this is what I did. I went ahead and I just used some Scotch tape, just regular Scotch tape to hold them together in the back. All right. And then from there, I went ahead and glued them down onto my white circle. All right. So from that, I ended up with this, with everything glued down after I just held them all together with my Scotch tape, all those circles. All right, so here we go with this one. Let me bring out the rest of the supplies for you then. I have a card base. This one actually is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I am getting into these layers of 3 3/4 by 5, and then 1/8 of an inch bigger, meaning then that it is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. So that's kind of the way it's all going to be for all 3 cards that I'm going to be sharing with you today. Those are going to be the same measurements. Don't worry about writing everything down as far as measurements go, because down in the description you're going to find a free tutorial that you can pick up and use then to get at all of that. All right, then I rated my 6x6 Brights Designer Series paper collection, and I pulled out the blue here, the Pacific Point. Any of the colors that I used in the cardstock of the rainbow I felt like I was going to be good with, but I went with the Pacific Point and the Daffodil Delight. For the Pacific Point, this actually is a 3.5 by 3.5 square that I cut out, and then I cut on the diagonal. So you can see here on the sample, it is actually just a 3.5 inch square that I just cut from corner to corner on the diagonal. Okay, so let me go ahead and adhere that down. I feel like I have too much stuff in front of me here. So let's go ahead, either side, but the polka dots, I'll be honest with you, is my favorite. So let's get this adhered down. Okay, in the corner. And then I have the Daffodil Delight. Now this measures 2 inches across and 4.5 inches long. All right, so that's going to go. Now, one thing you have to be careful of with this paper pack is this pattern does have words. So just, double check, make sure you're putting it in the correct direction. So, all right, I'm just going to put it down about here. So no real rhyme or reason, is it? And now adhere these 2 layers together. So this is the white going down then to the black. And this will then go down to my card base. Okay. Inside, yeah, I'll show you the stamp set that I used and what it says inside. I already have it stamped. Now, with a scrap piece of the black cardstock, I went ahead stamping in Versamark. I used this You Made My Day. It comes from the Here's a Card stamp set. So the You Made My Day, I stamped it in Versamark on a scrap piece of black, sprinkled it with white embossing powder, used my heat tool to melt that powder, and I just then I die cut it with the smallest of the circles in that layering circles die set. All right, popped it up, and it's going to go right in the center of my rainbow circle. Now, I also have dimensionals on the back of this circle, and then all that's going to be left is to do a little embellishing. So I'll do that with some of the rhinestone. So here we go. And now I just have the Rhinestone Basic Jewels, my Picket tool, and let me get a couple of those on. I am going to put 3 on here. And there we go. So here we have the entire circle with all the colors of the rainbow on it. All right, let's go on to card number 2. Now, this time, the same technique for creating the circle itself of layering up the circles. I just pulled in some different colors of cardstock instead. And I then cut the circle in half. So this is just the Granny Apple Green and the Poppy Parade. So I layered all of those circles together, Scotch taped them on the back, adhered them to I just did a white circle. This time, as you can see, I did fill it in with one of the colors of cardstock. This one happens to be the Granny Apple Green. So I actually did not leave it white like I did on my rainbow one. So, and then just cut it in half, whether you use your paper cutter or just scissors, but I cut it in half then. So now I have 2 fun pieces here. I have, again, the 5 by 3 3/4 of the white. I have a piece of basic black, 1/8 of an inch bigger, 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And then my card base this time is Poppy Parade. All right, so here we go. It was just kind of fun. I just laid these circles out and I'm like, which way do I like them, the way they are arranged? And this is what I came up with. So as far as sort of a point of reference on where to adhere them down, I just went with the edge to the point of the circle, or the edge of the circle to the point of the cardstock. So let me just get my adhesive on here. So the edge of this circle right at the point. And then the same thing on this side. The point of the cardstock to the edge of the circle. All right. So let me just turn this upside down. It's just easier for me to see it then. I mean, you can put these any which way you want. And yes, I did turn it into a Christmas card. I mean, I felt like I had to, right? My sentiment for the front is from the Perfectly Plaid stamp set. That Merry Christmas, I think I like that cursive font. So that's a favorite of mine. So let's go ahead, adhere this down to the black layer with just that little hint of black popping through. And now I'm going to pull in my card base so I can get it ready for this to pop down on it. And I don't know if you noticed, but there's no dimensionals on this one. I know, I'm surprised too. I'm the queen of dimensionals, so. Now this time I'm going to embellish it with the red rhinestones. So if you don't have the red rhinestones, but you have the clear ones, you can always use your markers to color them red. So let me go with 5 on this one. So kind of fun here. So I hope you didn't blink on that one, because now this card is done. All right. And I just thought I would change it up because the sample card, it starts on the outside with the green, the Granny Apple green. And this one I just did the opposite ones of. So, all right, let's get on to card number 3. This one I think might be my favorite. I just love this effect. I've seen other people do this. So of course I had to give it a try too. So, all right, again, the same way of getting my circles adhered down using the Scotch tape and that large white circle. This time I used the Gorgeous Grape and the Highland Heather. And again, if you know me, you know I am not a purple lover. So don't hate me for that, but it's not my favorite. But I thought I would give it a go. And then for the one I'm going to show you how I made it, I'm going to go with the Pacific Point and the Granny Apple green. All right. So the white, you guessed it, it's 5 by 3 3/4. The Granny Apple green layer is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. My card base is Pacific Point, being 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. And I do have a piece of white cardstock on the inside then that's 5 1/4 by 4. That is it. So here's the circle. Remember? All I did was then cut it in half. So let me show you how I'm going to put this down. So I'm imagining where the center line is on this piece of cardstock. So I'm going to start with one piece kind of along the bottom of that line. The second half of this circle was going to go along the top half of my imaginary line. And would you look, it actually lines up here. I have sort of an S shape now, but these circles do line up with each other. I just think that is so cool. And I did decide though that I'm going to use a strip of black. I don't want to say to cover that up, but just in case it's off a little bit, I wanted to be sure that I was that I did kind of cover any mistakes that I might have there. So I put a strip of black. I'll show that to you again. But let me just see where my imaginary line is. And I put the edge, whoops, of my circle along that edge here of the white cardstock. And this actually fits on there perfectly. So 5 inches across will fit this circle perfectly. All right, so I have this other one. And I will line it up right along the edge. And like I said, I'll have this now to adhere down to my Granny Apple green layer. Okay. Fun, isn't it? I just, this one, like I said, this one's my favorite. I know, it's just like when you have children, you're not supposed to have favorites. Same with your cards, but this one is. So here we go. And I'm going to adhere this down to the card base. And let me bring back in my strip. So this is 1/2 inch wide. Do whatever it is with your sentiment. And again, I just stamped it from that here's a card stamp set. The congratulations. On the inside, it's this one, on that thing you did. I'd give you a standing ovation, but here's a card instead. Love it. I just love it. But anyway, okay, so 1/2 inch wide. And then the length is the 5 inches. But do it according to your sentiment, all right? Stamped it in the Versamark, sprinkled on the white embossing powder, tapped off the excess heat tool that melted that powder, and I have it embossed. I also have it ready to go with a whole bunch of dimensionals. Told you I was the dimensional lady. So well, let's get those all ready to go. And I'm going to just put that right across. This helps too, that in case when you cut it, if you didn't quite cut it evenly, if one circle's a little bit bigger than the other, you'd be able to kind of cover up that as well. So this strip serves multi-purposes. All right, the embellishment that I used here are these resin heart embellishments. Super cute. They're out of the new mini catalog that's out and about now. That is an absolute must-have because it's fantastic. So let me go ahead. And I didn't want them to be straight across. I kind of wanted them to be a little wonky. And that way I didn't have to fuss about the direction that they were going. So, and there they are. All wonky is right. So here it is. So let me bring in all of the cards. Okay, my favorite. The quickest and easiest one here is the holiday one, the Christmas one, and the one that started the whole thing, the rainbow card. All using the layering circles dies. Like I said, guys, please remember to pick up your free tutorial. It is down in the description. And while you're down there, do me a favor, and if you could give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and also consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate that as well. I do have a blog. It's Linda Lou Creates. While you're there, you can sign up for my newsletter. And guys, thank you again for joining me, and I hope you get a chance to create today. Bye now.